All right. Good morning, everyone. Did you need a sound check quickly? Excellent. Meaghan Scanlon, Minister for Youth Affairs. Wonderful to be here today with Minister Ryan and, of course, Commissioner Carroll and all of the Schoolies team. Today we'll be welcoming around 20,000 young school leavers to Surfers Paradise to enjoy what we all know as a rite of passage, which is Schoolies. The Queensland Government doesn't organise Schoolies, but we do provide a safety wraparound response to make sure that young people have a safe and enjoyable environment when they come here to celebrate what's been a pretty difficult last few years for them. Today we're at the Wristband Centre, which is where young people will come and get their wristband. It will allow them access to the Schoolies Beach Hub, which is exclusively for Schoolies, so we don't tolerate anyone else. No toolies are invited into that environment. And this was designed really as a diversionary activity to try and get young people out of their apartments and into a space where we have lots of support services, we have live entertainment, and of course it's a safe place for people to come. We're expecting to see, as I said, 20,000 young people here. Last year we saw around 130,000 cups of water handed out. We've seen lots of fantastic volunteers, 1,000 boots on the ground to try and assist with the Safer Schoolies response, and I want to acknowledge all of those incredible volunteers who give up their time to help with this week-long event, and of course all of the services that are a part of this program as well. There's 9 government services. We also have the City of Gold Coast and also 7 community partners that we work with. They're providing things like water to people down at the Safer Schoolies hub. They're also providing, of course, health services where there might be young people who need that assistance. There are a range of supports here, so I really encourage everyone to have a wonderful time. Be safe, watch your mates. My advice to people is check in with your parents, ideally each day. I did Schoolies 12 years ago, and I know it made my mum feel a lot better when I called her each day, so I encourage you to do that. But of course also make sure that you're looking out for one another, and remember, only yes means yes. No is a complete sentence, and we want everyone to have a great time. So enjoy this week in Surfers Paradise, Schoolies. You deserve it after a really hard couple of years, and I want to thank everyone who's been a part of this process. I might hand over to Mark Ryan now and do questions later.
Thanks, Meaghan, and can I join you in welcoming all the Schoolies to the Gold Coast and congratulate all Year 12s on a successful year, and also wish them all the very best for the next chapter in their life. A couple of important messages obviously for Schoolies who are attending celebrations wherever it might be, whether it's here on the Gold Coast or around the state. Be smart, not stupid. Have fun, don't be foolish. A couple of key messages which will ensure that you can enjoy Schoolies and celebrate this time, this milestone in your lifetime with your schoolmates. It is important to acknowledge the partnerships that go on to making Schoolies safe, and we've got hundreds of police here on the Gold Coast during the Schoolies period to work alongside those thousands of other support workers and volunteers, making Schoolies a safe environment. I wanted to give a particular shout out to Rosie's, who was one of the first organisations to actually join the Gold Coast Schoolies Celebrations. They've been doing Schoolies for many, many decades now, and they're also celebrating a milestone year this year in their formation. So to all the volunteers from Rosie's, as well as also all the other community organisations which support Schoolies, I say thank you. Thank you for keeping the Schoolies safe, but also thank you for contributing to community safety and community wellbeing by volunteering your efforts. This is an important event, and it's an important event for all government agencies and community organisations, and the Queensland Police Service is obviously very proud of our young people, very proud of their achievements, and that's one reason why the Queensland Police Service will be out in forts supporting them. There is also times for people to think about the future, and the Queensland Police Service is also recruiting. We've in fact got a recruitment tent here at the Schoolies sign-in area, so if anyone's thinking about contributing to their community as a police officer, please stop by the tent, get some information. You too can contribute to your community by being a member of the Queensland Police Service. I'll now invite the Commissioner to say a few things.
Good morning everyone, and welcome to the Gold Coast. I'd like to congratulate all of those grade 12s that graduated just in the last few days, and welcome to the 20,000 that are going to be coming to the Gold Coast today to celebrate over the next week or so. Can I ask that you look after each other and look after your mates? We will have hundreds of additional police on patrol over the next week to help you keep safe, so please go to the police, have a chat. There is the wanding trial, obviously, on the Gold Coast, so you may get wandered. I encourage you to really, engage with police. I thank the partner agencies that we're working with and the volunteers. Rosie's, Get a Red Frog, incredibly important to mix with them as well. I'm going to be here this afternoon and this evening, really going out on patrol and looking at what's happening to make sure that everything is in place as it should be. And particularly of interest this year, my daughter will be one of those, so I'll be checking in with her if she's not checking in with Mum. But to all of you, please keep safe, look after each other, be responsible, and as I said, there will be additional police here, additional volunteers and services, and I know that you'll have a wonderful week. Thank you.
Commissioner, it's a very exciting time for the kids, but it's a nervous time for parents, isn't it?
It's definitely a very nervous time for parents, definitely, but I want to assure parents that kids are in a very safe environment. There has been an extraordinary amount of work over many, many years to put really good support systems in place. I had a child here 3 years ago, and again, as I said, this year, and I spend a lot of time going behind the scenes to making sure that all of those systems are in place. So please be assured that your children are safe, but children, please be responsible. Check in with your parents. Let them know how you are travelling, and check in with the police. Stop and have a chat. And if you've ever got any concerns, please just call 000 and reach out.
Has it become easier to manage from a policing perspective, the fact that half of them are now 18, they can go to the nightclubs and they become the nightclubs proper?
It is, in some sense, a little bit easier, but also there's more challenges when you're 18 and a lot more go into nightclubs. So it can be as equally as challenging. So my daughter's 18 and I've already had that conversation about nightclubbing. So in many ways, whichever way you look at it, it can be challenging having a lot of people together, celebrating over an extended period of time. But certainly there has been many years of work and learning for each year how well we've done this. And each year we know that everyone is safe and that it is well managed.
Other questions?
Yes.
This morning in the Courier Mail saying to you, you're looking at bringing in Julie McKay from PwC to help the life. What's the timeline on that? When is she going to be coming in and what are you hoping that she'll do?
So I've had these conversations with Julie McKay from PwC over a number of months now, and she officially started a week ago. It started as a result of a review that we ourselves implemented in the organisation, but I want her to be involved in a lot more than just that. I have worked with Julie in QFES, and she has a long history of working with Defence as well. So she will look at the reforms that we've already started and the reforms that happen into the future, and assist the organisation in that that leadership, that cultural reform in the organisation. Someone who has extensive experience like that can only be an asset to guide and assist the organisation in going forward.
Has she been helping fix the problems within the service? What was she actively doing?
So Julie McKay has extensive leadership and cultural reform expertise. She worked with the United Nations in that area and also worked with Defence in that area. So there's many learnings around that. And also with me in QFES did a three-year mark review of the extensive reforms that I did in there as well. So that background, those learnings are incredibly important to know that the strategies and the initiatives that you're implementing, be it education, be it systems, be it procedural new ways of doing business, to see whether that works, whether it needs tweaking, and what more needs to be done into the future. So it is incredibly powerful to have someone with those capabilities to come into your organisation. Not all organisations have all the capabilities they need, and when you bring someone else like that in, it certainly gives you that confidence and comfort that you can review what you've done, what's working, what else needs to be done, and really assist you with the future in terms of reforms as well.
Do you believe in a disciplinary process when you
So that's certainly an aspect of it. So the disciplinary process is a brand new process. It is only 3 years old. It was with good intent set up between the unions, the CCC and the QPS. When I came in, the system had been trialled for a number of months and permanently started in October. The LMR has very good reasons as to why it exists. But what's happened is the inconsistencies and how it was used has really, the system has, really not worked the way it should have. So what has happened since? We've centralised all of the case management now in ethical standards in relation to sexism, misogyny, racism, to make sure that it's case managed by just one group of people in Ethical Standards Command. This will elevate the seriousness of it, it will bring it consistency, and to add to that, very shortly we will also have a psychologist start in that unit as well. So to give comfort, for witnesses and complainants to come forward, and for that psychologist to refer those people to further services if need be as well.
You said it's being exploited by some officers. Do you think that entire local managerial guidance disciplinary process needs to be thrown out? Does it need to be completely overhauled?
So it is definitely been overhauled. It has been, but there is still very good uses for it. Minor matters, a one-off, apologetic, an honest mistake, that's what those systems are there for. And there's evidence if you're really preventative in the way that you use that you intervene early, that there are great learnings out of it. We've seen great learnings for officers who've had it. However, those areas that we've looked at, in terms of misogynism and sexism and racism, they really need to be elevated and dealt with more seriously. When you have a decentralised system and everyone is doing it very differently, it's actually, that's what's happened. So as soon as that was brought to our attention, that was addressed immediately. I am very confident with one group of case managers dealing with this across the state, and obviously having that psychological support in place as well.
Are you concerned about on Monday?
Beg your pardon?
Are you concerned about what will come out on Monday?
Yes, definitely. We've seen that in the inquiry, and all good people who have seen some of the case studies and where the organisation, could have done better and didn't do better in dealing with some of those issues are upset about it. And good people, and mostly good people in the QPS, are upset about what's heard. I think we're all concerned, about what's coming. But it is a line in the sand. It's actually recognising that the system could have been better. It's recognising that whilst there were already so many reforms, that so much more needs to be done. So that's where we're at. And reform is extraordinarily difficult. I've been involved in it, as you know, before. I left QFS at 4.5 year mark knowing I had more to do. It really is in the best environment possible at that 3 year mark that you're just starting to make, that difference. And when you've had a less than optimum environment to do it in, it has been really challenging. But as I said, a lot has been done, but a significant more needs to be done.
Is anything being done now before Monday? Before that is complete?
Yes, definitely. So if you've seen a lot more positions in DV, the way that we do done LMR has been changed. So a significant amount of work has already been done. So that is in place, and now we also anticipate and look forward to what the recommendations are as well. And I could talk to, new leadership framework has been introduced, a new performance framework has been introduced, a new set of values has been introduced. So over the last 3 years, there's been significant work. But certainly, from the Commission and what we've heard, we know that a significant more needs to be done.
Do you still the disciplinary process and being able to weed out those bad apples? Do you think that moving forward, you and other senior officers need to have more power to be able to sack the bad apples who are found, to have committed this crime?
Yeah, so the Minister and I have had a discussion about this. So I'm looking at the moment, it has been difficult, and this is one of the challenges. So we are looking at the moment at several people that I'm going to ask my legal team and getting legal advice to take some of those officers to the next step, to see whether they're suitable to be an officer in the organisation. The difficulty with that is they're all at each different, part of their process, and some of them be done with other processes. So what we're going to do is, try this piece of legislation over the next few weeks. I am taking my time with it. It has to be comprehensive, and it is complex. But certainly I've already had some discussions with the Minister that if it is difficult, that we do need to have a discussion about how to, reframe that and how we move forward.
I know it's a bureaucracy,
Sorry.
but you're the boss, and in most organisations you say if someone's found guilty of sexism, racism, you say, well, you're gone, you're sacked.
Everyone has rights, and every legislation is different, and there's industrial rights. So it is really about working our way through that legislation and making sure that we do this properly. So I don't want to be in a situation where we do move on this, that then I end up in further proceedings where we haven't done it well. So this is incredibly important.
Do you still believe you're the right choice to represent?
Yes, definitely. And the reason why I say that is I've been in the role just for 3 years in what has probably been the toughest 3 years of the organisation. 2 of those years, and I think you all know that COVID period and how difficult it was. That was very difficult for our department. I think some of probably the most difficult days, ever in our history. So I do so because I have done extensive reform before. I came in with the reform agenda, and as I said, more needs to be done in that space, and that's what we will do.
And how much of a balancing act has it been for you, and how much of a challenge is it trying to fulfil those commitments to grow the organisation and improve? We know it's a tough job trying to improve schoolies as a wristbands, and then also having to, get rid of some people who might be dragging the organisation down.
It is a challenge in any organisation. It is an extraordinarily large organisation. We're talking about 17,500 people in what is an organisation dispersed across the state, and that works in very, very complex environments. We know that at the moment recruiting is a challenge across the world, and if you look at some of the reports that we've done, just having people in temporary positions where you have uncertainty, inconsistency has created some of the greatest challenges. So for us, we need to get the people in very quickly, we need to put them in permanently and make sure that that reform goes forward. It is a challenge, but we are doing a lot of work in recruiting. We've looked at what's happening across the world, what other states are doing, other jurisdictions are doing. So I am quietly confident that we will get there, but look, everyone knows it is a challenge.
Can we ask your thoughts on the disciplinary process?
Yeah, well, I've said publicly that there was obviously some identified inconsistencies with the application, particularly around that local managerial resolution, and I welcome the Commissioner's immediate response to centralising aspects of that and also elevating the serious aspects of that to a central oversight body. That's important, and I support the Commissioner in doing that.
Union have too much power, do you think?
Sorry, what was
The
it?
union have too much power, too much control over the sort of legislation and being able to weed out some of the bad apples?
With respect, I think that's a bit of a nonsense. There's been, generations and generations of workplace rights which have been enshrined in legislation. It doesn't matter the workplace you're in, whether it's the police service or private practice. There's processes that have to be followed when industrial rights are being exercised, and if people are aggrieved by those processes, they've got rights to appeal it. It's no different in the police service as compared to any other organisation.
Yeah, but if I sexually harass someone at my work, I get sacked.
Well, there's still a process to follow, and if you felt aggrieved by that, you would have appeal rights. It's a similar process in any government department.
You've been on the record saying you guarantee that the Commissioner will survive no matter what comes out of this report. Do you stand by that, and do you think that's the right thing for Queenslanders?
Well, we've just heard the Commissioner talk about her reform record, the reforms she's done, and the reforms she's committed to. I think that is a pretty good example of the qualities of Katarina Carroll and why not only the government has confidence in her, but why all Queenslanders should have confidence in her.
On the McGregor
Is this a police question? Sorry. It sounds like an operational question. No?
No, I'm asking.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just why did police not speak about it?
I'm sorry.
Why did police not speak about it?
Oh, well, that's an operational matter for the Queensland Police. So it may be connected to investigative strategies that they've got. I'm happy to get an officer to talk to you about it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Does anyone know about the McGregor matter?
Oh, I do know about the McGregor matter, and we have charged a 24-year-old, but I can't say why information was not given out. It may have been as a result of the investigation, I would say, but certainly a person has been charged with that for unlawful use, obviously the stealing of that vehicle. Sadly, someone was hit, and thankfully, sorry, things are going a little bit. It is Schoolies. So someone has been charged with that.
Is there any information, any background you can give us on this?
I can get you more detail if you want, definitely. Yeah.
Just having seen that, you've seen that video, it's pretty horrific stuff.
Yeah, it was awful. It's actually extraordinarily confronting. I saw it.